Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into a fascinating place, doing business in 21st century India.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Definitely. And we're drawing heavily from Gunjan Bagla's very practical book, Doing Business in 21st Century India.
Right. And our goal here really is for you listening, maybe you're a founder, maybe a corporate exec, maybe just curious to get a real practical feel for it.
What does it actually take?
Exactly. We want to walk you through the culture, the business systems, the strategy, what you need to succeed there, not just get by.
Okay, so let's start with something pretty fundamental. A lot of people tend to lump India and China together, right? Big growing markets.
They do, but Bagla makes it super clear. They are fundamentally different beasts.
How so?
Well, China is often seen as, fast, very top-down, centralized. India, he calls it a dancing elephant.
A dancing elephant, I like that.
Yeah, it suggests something massive, maybe a bit unpredictable, but also crucially democratic at its core.
And that's not just a metaphor, is it? It actually changes how you do business.
Absolutely. Decision-making isn't just coming from the top. It's spread out. You've got, 28 states, dozens of languages, different cultures.
So the big takeaway right up front is,
you cannot just take your China strategy, or any other strategy, really, and just, slap it onto India. It won't work. You need something completely tailored.
okay, that makes sense. India is India. So if you can't just copy-paste, how do you build that tailored approach? Does Bagla offer a sort of framework?
He does, and it's really practical. He boils it down to what he calls the 6 C's, 6 essential things to get right for your strategy.
The 6 C's. Okay, let's break those down. This sounds like the core of it.
It really is. First up is culture.
Right.
You just can't ignore how deeply things like religion, festivals, family structures, even caste history shape how consumers behave.
So running a generic ad campaign might just completely miss the mark.
Totally. If you don't understand, say, the significance of Diwali or maybe a local harvest festival, your message just won't land. It's about the why behind the buy.
Okay, culture. What's next?
Communication. India is what anthropologists call a high context culture. Meaning a lot is left unsaid. You have to read between the lines. A yes might genuinely mean maybe, or I heard you but don't agree. Silence could easily be a polite no.
Wow, okay. So directness isn't always the best approach.
Often, no. You need to pick up on the nuances, the body language, the indirect signals. It takes practice.
I would see.
Consumers. It's way more complex than just rich versus poor. Bagla talks about 5 distinct income tiers.
5 tiers. And they behave differently.
Massively different. What sells in, say, upscale Mumbai might be totally wrong for Lucknow, a tier 2 city. Aspirations, price sensitivity, even preferred product features can vary hugely.
So you're almost marketing to multiple different countries within India.
In a way, yes. Each region, each income segment needs careful thought.
Okay. That's culture, communication, consumers. Number 4.
Channels. How you actually reach the customer. E-commerce is growing fast, sure, but the vast majority of retail still happens in those little local neighborhood shops, the kiranas.
Right, the corner stores.
Exactly. And relationships matter there. People trust their local shopkeeper. And even online, trust is huge, which is why cash on delivery, COD, is still so popular. People want to see the goods before paying.
Interesting. Okay, number 5.
Collateral. Your marketing materials. It's not enough just to translate the words.
You mean the design, the feel?
Yes. The design, the colors, the images, the overall tone, it all needs to be localized so it actually resonates culturally. Get the symbols wrong, and you could actually offend people.
Makes sense. And the last C.
Consultative selling. This ties back to relationships. In India, just offering the lowest price often isn't enough.
It's about trust again.
Deeply. People buy from people they trust, people they see as partners, not just vendors trying to make a quick sale. You need to invest time, show you understand their world, be consultative.
Okay, those 6 C's: culture, communication, consumers, channels, collateral, consultative selling. That's a really solid framework. But strategy is one thing. Execution needs people. Let's talk about hiring and managing teams in India. Huge young workforce there.
Massive and incredibly talented. But yes, managing effectively requires understanding some specific cultural points.
Like what, for instance?
Well, things like job security and status tend to be valued very highly, often more so than, say, high-risk, high-reward bonuses. And something that surprises some Western managers is the power of public praise.
Really? Praising someone in front of the team?
Yes, it can be a huge motivator. Recognizing contributions publicly often goes a very long way, builds loyalty.
That's fascinating. What about how teams interact? Hierarchy, for example.
Yes. Hierarchy is generally quite respected and expected. A junior person might hesitate, sometimes strongly hesitate, to contradict or even point out a mistake to a senior person.
Even if they see a problem.
Even then. So, as a leader, you can't just assume people will speak up. You actively need to create the space, maybe in one-on-ones or specific feedback sessions, to make it okay for them to voice concerns.
So you need to draw out of them almost.
You do. And Bagla's advice here is spot on. Hire local Indian managers. Train them well, sure, but critically, listen to them. They know the culture, they know the market better than any outsider ever could.
That seems crucial. Okay, let's shift to another potentially tricky area. Finance and regulation. Sounds like it can be a bit of a maze.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly sometimes. You've got laws at the national level, then state level rules, and then local regulations too. It's layered.
So compliance isn't straightforward.
Not always. Even with reforms like the GST, the goods and services tax, which did simplify a lot of the tax structure.
It unified things, right?
It did. It replaced a whole mess of different taxes. Big improvement for moving goods across states. But you still have local bureaucracy, different permits needed in different places.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Bagla mentions an American company that got fined in Maharashtra. Why? Because their packaging wasn't labeled in Marathi, the local state language. They met all the national rules, but missed that local one.
Wow. Just for a label.
Yep. It shows compliance isn't just a task you tick off. It's an ongoing strategy. You absolutely need good local legal and accounting help who understand the regional specifics.
Right. It's not just about Delhi. It's about Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, all potentially different.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's clear that this one-size-fits-all approach is a definite no-go. And that probably applies across different industries, too.
Absolutely. Different sectors have completely different dynamics.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, take telecom. India basically skipped the whole landline era for most people and jumped straight to mobile.
So everyone's on mobile.
Pretty much. Which means for any business, thinking mobile first isn't just a good idea. It's like the baseline. It's how you reach people.
Got it. What about healthcare?
Hugely based on trust and very personal. Local doctors and pharmacists have immense influence, way more than big ad campaigns.
So the strategy is?
Build relationships. Partner with those local healthcare providers ethically. It's not just about pushing products.
Okay. How about everyday stuff like consumer goods, FMCG?
Interesting things there. Pricing, for example. Ending prices in 99 rupees, that kind of psychological pricing often works really well. And local tastes are key. Flavors, scents, packaging that connects with regional preferences. Makes a huge difference.
Local, local, local. Seems to be a theme.
It really is. Even in big projects like infrastructure, you'll likely be dealing with government contracts.
Which
means expect delays, be patient, bureaucracy is real. But the potential rewards are massive, tied into India's growth. You need patience and good relationships there, too.
This brings us to something you touched on earlier, maybe the most human element. Bagla apparently dedicates a whole chapter just to daily life stuff, travel, eating, team bonding. Why is that so important?
Because that's where cultural friction can really trip you up, you know? Small misunderstandings outside the formal meetings can damage the trust you're trying to build inside them.
So the informal stuff matters just as much.
Often more. Relationships in India are frequently built over a cup of chai tea. It's not just a coffee break, it's a ritual, a way to connect.
So don't just rush from meeting to meeting.
Exactly. Bagla's advice is, slow down a bit. Ask about people's families. Show genuine interest. If you get invited to a local festival or a wedding, try to go.
Those small gestures build bridges.
Huge bridges. They build trust. And in India, as we've seen, trust is the foundation for almost everything in business.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If we distill Gunjan Bagla's playbook down to the absolute essentials for our listeners, what are the key takeaways?
All right, I think number one has to be India is not China. Don't treat it that way. It needs its own unique strategy.
Got it. What else?
Second, really understand and use those 6 C's: culture, communication, consumers, channels, collateral, consultative selling to build that strategy.
Makes sense. Third,
build your team with deep local knowledge. Hire Indian managers, train them, yes, but empower them and listen to them.
Crucial. Number 4,
compliance. Treat it seriously right from the start and view it as an ongoing strategic need, not just a bureaucratic hurdle. Get good local advice.
Okay. And finally,
maybe the most encompassing one. Respect the cultural rhythm. Understand that business moves differently, relationships